Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Doc here from North America. Here we go again. And as you can see, we have the Swiss up there this morning, as we usually do. And what else is there to say about that? But it's going up again. And even with that little downdraft there yesterday, could not get into a sell. It's in the weekly buy. And wow, like we're seeing buying in the dollar constantly. I mean, as much as we keep on hearing disaster for dollar and so forth, it's not happening. It's not even remotely happening. And I was thinking about it this morning, because I hear a lot. Our media loves China. They're really into this slave labor, as long as it's not in America, um, and they seem to be supportive of buying body parts. I don't know. It's really weird. The left in this country has got some really strange concepts going on now. But anyway, and the end result is that they really enjoy China. They really do. They find it positive. It's because they're socialists and China's communist, and they feel very comfortable with that. So anyway, I was thinking to myself, I rarely get anybody on the Dukascopy webinar asking about where the yuan is going. And I was thinking, it's kind of like the Hong Kong dollar. It's kind of a fixed product. And what is it fixed to? Obviously, the dollar. And I would assume, in the way I don't look at the Chinese yuan closely, but it is also fixed, like the Hong Kong dollar is. And what is it fixed to? I'm thinking to myself, well, obviously it must be fixed to the dollar too. And if not, then they're fixing it to the Hong Kong dollar, and that's fixed to the dollar. But in the end result, then I thought to myself, what would they, if there was no dollar, what would they be? How would you measure that product? In other words, what would be the guidepost? What would be the anchor to it that would give you generality? Because, I mean, the world only trades 2.5% of currency of the yuan. Whereas, that leaves 97.5% or 98% of the world's currencies trading in volume. So how can it be the second largest? And the United States is 60% of currencies traded. And so, okay, so if the U.S. is 60% and the rest of and the yuan is 2%, that's 62%. Then the rest of the world is 38%. So I know I'm throwing numbers out at some of you, and that gets a little freaky. But in the end result is that the yuan just doesn't trade. And I was thinking to myself, what would it trade? In other words, I was trying to theorize. What would it trade? What value would the Chinese yuan really have if it if there was no dollar? In other words, the dollar didn't exist at all. And that's a really good question. I mean, obviously has that proximity, like location, location, location. You would assume that the closer to the military, in other words, the Asian countries, it would trade at a higher value, and Europe and in the North American and South American regions, it would be less, of course, because they're just further away. So I just thought it was kind of an interesting question mark. It's kind of curious. I rarely ever have anybody say, "Hey, Doc, where is the yuan? What do you think we should do with it?" I don't ever see that. It's like I said, there's a big love for it over here in the media. They love everything the Chinese government seems to do, which seems to be opposite of what our socialists really like, which is odd. I mean, none of it makes any sense anymore. But just thought I'd throw that out there. I just wanted to get that out there. That's kind of like sitting in my head, just wondering. I myself believe that if there's no dollar, there is no currency in general. That's my opinion. So in other words, if there was no dollar for Hong Kong to fix their currency to, or the yuan to, or whoever else does it, more than likely, chances are most of these currencies would be almost non-existent. They'd be very very small in character the way they are now. And I think that's what has my curiosity is. I'm really convinced without a dollar there is no market. I think that's how it's going to play out. So in other words, every time we hear a story about, oh, the dollar, dollar's going the way of the dodo bird, more than likely it's not. Hey, how you doing, George? Morning, all. Soybean oil down. Soybeans down hard this morning. Oh, let's see. See what they're doing. Yeah, I just was theorizing on the currencies. I really don't think that. I really don't. I mean, would there be a British pound? Yeah, of course there'd be a British pound. And would it be popular? I guess location-wise, something Europe it would be more popular. Iceland. Maybe Canada more. That type of thing. Um, there we go. There's cattle. See what they're doing to soybeans. Oh yeah, look at that. Now yesterday, bean oil had news. It has its monthly number come out, and it was positive. So let's see what's going on there. Let me just reload that. Where is that? Oh, we got to scroll down for that. I know I keep on getting there. There it is. Reload. Yeah, look at that pressure on that. Wow. They're really pushing it down. But I look at our weekly, though. Our weekly's doing nothing. This could be just a thin evening market, or early morning market, or I guess it's the high is. They're saying the high is 45, and it's at 17 low. So what is that? That's 28. Let's see, 23. Yeah, 28. So it's basically 28 cents down from its high. Are they doing that to the wheat too? Let's see. The corn. Let's see what corn's doing. Corn, yeah, same thing. They're pressing that down. And I guess wheat was already wheat. No, that couldn't get no buy because it's a red dot, and that's not even through. Okay, and that's already down inside that thing. Let's see what red wheat is doing. Yeah, that's in the sell also. If it would closed up today, we could have, if it had closed, if it started off here at the opening and climbed, we could have been in the buy, but it didn't do that. You would think that sooner or later there was some profit taking. I mean, there's what a heck of a run. Now let's see what back months are doing. See back months. There's deck. Let's give it a refresh. And you can see there it's not in a sell. So we talked about this yesterday that we saw that action going on. This is December corn, and then there is May corn. No, that's May beans. Let me give you May corn. And there's May corn, and it's in a weekly sell too. And so let's see. And then the deck corn is in a weekly buy, and look at that. It's even moving up. You can see it's perking its little head up there even more. Hey, 47, how you doing? So it's just the front month delivery stuff. It looks like it's going on there. Oh yeah, we'll check out CAD. Let's see what CAD is doing here. I just want to look at one more thing, and then we'll go to CAD. There's May soybeans. And that's pressing down, of course. And then let's look at November beans, the new crop. Now that's being pushed down too. See, now the back month there is being pushed down. I mean, all the back months are being pushed down, but they're not damaging them. See, it's not pushing it into a sell. Whereas in the May beans is through the sell number. So, and then both are in weekly buys. How's that? Is that pretty good, George? It's a good. I would guess it's a delivery thing going on. That would be where my head's at. I would say it's delivery. It's DiGiorno, the pizza, delivery. All right, now let's check out Canada. Canada went into the sell yesterday. Still there now. Let's refresh that. It's in a weekly sell, and it's trapped inside a little range here today. You can see it went lower at one point, and now it's pretty much unchanged up a little bit. So the Canadian is just doing its thing there. You see what I'm saying there, George, about it could be front month delivery situations going on. Who knows? In other words, the supply is so big. Let's see, supply. There's so many longs in the marketplace. Maybe some of them are trying to get out of it. That's the way I would look at it. Now, like now for 47, we watch that each day, and you can see it's in the weekly sell. And yesterday pushed it into a daily sell, but look at the triangle there. It's very smooth overall. It's not really going anywhere. We'll watch this, but the overall theme right now is from this week where they put it into the weekly sell after pushing it into a weekly buy for 1 week. And overall, you can see, let's scrunch that up again. I'm sure we did this yesterday. You can see it went into a weekly sell up in here, and it ran that way for weeks. Like, what's that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, 11 weeks in the sell. Just 1 week back into the buy, and then boom, right back into the sell again for another 3, 4. So 11 and 4 is 15 weeks out of 16 weeks. It's in a sell. And this is going to be the 17th week right now. So, I don't see a lot of action in this Canadian. I think there's that's usually this is indicative of the action we're seeing is indicative of oil being a little bit firmer this morning, I would assume. I did see it firmer earlier. Now that we're in this neighborhood, let's go over to the NASCAD and see what the Looney's doing. Yeah, I see the Looney's bouncing up even with it not getting a green dot or anything like that. It's still in the sell, of course, but you can see it's up higher, not by much. It was higher, started off higher, and then they sold it down, and we're in the weekly sell here too for a whole week. Let's put that in there. After many, many months of the NASCAD, I think it was like 19 or 20 weeks, I'm sorry, of being in a buy. It's pushed itself into the sell here this week right here. And we were in a daily sell from here, so it has been a winner, chicken dinner. There we are. So I hope that helps out. Oh, no problem, 47. Yeah, so back to my psychotic delusion. That is that I don't really believe that the dollar is going to go anywhere in particular. It could become weaker, of course, and stronger at times, both, But I don't see it going anywhere because I just don't see any replacement. I just don't. There's not even remotely close to a replacement. And as much as they just love China around here. You can't be a reserve currency if you can only get 2% of the world to trade your currency. You just can't declare, okay, today we're going to be the world reserve currency. Start buying us. I don't think it works that way. If it did, the ruble would be still at 5 or 6, and CCCP would still exist. And just because the Chinese are just CCP doesn't mean they're going to survive forever the way they are, financially at least. All right, let's jump over to the euro. You see euro is pressing back down again. It did not get into a buy yesterday. It's still in the weekly sell. And same thing with cable roux. Oh, look at cable roux. Let's widen that out a little bit there. Cable roux is trying to climb into the buy. There is a green dot right there. Let's widen that out too, like that. There's a green dot hiding in there. I saw that earlier. Let's see. If we move one of these dots down or up, either way. There was a green dot there a few seconds ago. I saw it. It ran away. Oh, well. Anyway, and this is so... Oh, there it is. I see it. I'm going to make the green big because I keep on seeing a little green appear out of nowhere. There we go. There it is. See it? As it upticks, it turns into the green. This is a very sensitive system. So, you can see there. Now it is. It's right there, hiding. Um, it's trying, and we're in a weekly buy. We really have a hard time being bearish on this product. We really do. The cable seems to have a mind of its own. I saw this morning there's going to be some of the European nations are going to sue Britain over the Brexit situation with, I guess, Ireland, right? The border with Ireland and Northern Ireland. And there's this, the island is split in half and, or 1/3, 2/3 or something like that. And there's, Ireland is a independent member of the European Union. And obviously Northern Ireland is part of Great Britain, so now they're out of it. So it makes it just a tad confusing there. And there's border issues. And, that's what it was created for, too. That's the funny part, is that the European Union was created to have a more solid currency as one unit and more free access to borders. And I have to say they've done everything else but what they're responsible for to do and what they started off as a strategy to do. Now Brussels is an unelected president of the European Union. Someone in Brussels, their capital of the European Union, and the population doesn't vote on them at all. And it's just a bunch of parliamentarians that are doing it. So, it's very strange. We have the Electoral College. They are totally separate from the politicians, which is really neat. So, in other words, when you get your Electoral College votes, the people that are voted in to decide are not the government politicians. They're a whole different entity altogether. We separate a lot of things over here. That's what some of the things that our socialists really hate is our Constitution tells us what government's not allowed to do, and they hate that, the socialists here. They want more rules by the government on the people, which is really odd, I myself live free or die as far as I'm concerned. All right, so there's the cable. You can see it, with the Northern Ireland situation, it's showing a little firmness in here this morning, even with the lawsuit that's coming out of Europe this morning. Let's check out Turkish lira. Oh, rolling over. It tried to fall into the sell yet, or did it go into the sell yesterday? No. I'm looking on the fact check spreadsheet. Line 17 is still in a buy. Okay. So it just missed it there. Wait a minute. Minus Z.ZZZ6. Oh, that's a sell there. It's got a red dot there. And then what is this? This is gas line 3. So then obviously plot 4 is minus 12 or Z.ZZZ12. So that isn't a sell. Let's take that and put the line in there. And we'll fix that on the fact check spreadsheet too. Move that over one. Wait a minute, it's not supposed to be up there. Remove. Oh, I see. That's not supposed to be up there either. Let's do that. Let's put that in the right spot. Right there. And we'll put this one in the right spot. Right there. Now let's change these colors. That's a red. And that's a red. Oh, there we go. Good to see the Turkish lira moving down again. It helps out the population, obviously. The price tag of things to be bought over there must be tenacious, just tenacious, with the product going from like 1.5, 2 to 8.5 over a 6-7 year period. President Erdogan's really got issues with his economic side of the game. All right, let's reload that. There it is. Okay, we'll do a little save there. And let's fix it on the fact check spreadsheet too. Right there. Tab 1, there it is. And we'll just save that. There we go. So that's what's brewing there. Now, what else have we got cooking around this place? Let's head over to. We usually go to the Canadian, so we'll just take a quick look again at the Canadian, and that line can be moved down too. Let's do that also while we're over there. There we go. And what is that? Yeah, that's it. So it was in the buy throughout that whole thing from here. Look at it. It went into the buy on Canadian up on here on that day. It just missed it here. It would have been nicer if it had been there. And then what happened was it just kind of rolled around going nowhere and basically losing money. And you couldn't take the buy because we're in a weekly sell, right, traders? Realize that? But, it still would have been nice to see. That's half the reason. That's a good half of the reason why you can't take the buy. When we're in a weekly sell and a daily buy, you just got to stand it aside. This is a perfect good example of it. Imagine those who piled in thinking, oh my God, it's taking off again on the upside. It's weakening. And then you get, what's that, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of nothing. And you can't get long it. Now we're in a sell. So let's see if it breaks down and we get stronger again against the dollar. Let's save that. See, back to the Canadian again. See, that's what I say around here, traders. Doesn't matter. If we've already done it, you can ask again. We'll go back to it. You never know. Look at this. We fixed something else. We had a whole different, not a different, but a new opinion about, or advisory, I guess you could say, of why we don't allow buys in weekly sells. So when you have a daily buy in a weekly sell, you don't get long. You just make sure that you're not short. That's all. And what's the worst case scenario? You make nothing. It's better than this trade right here. Imagine if you're being willy-nilly and you get long off those two spikes and you're like, oh man, Doc's in a sell on a weekly, but who cares? His daily jumped into a buy. I'm getting long. And then it falls back down from 28 down to 26. It's like, ow, that hurt. I don't like that. And so that's what it's all about around here, traders. Don't do that. Follow the rules. See here, in weekly sell, don't take the buys. Just take the sells. There you go. All right. Let's see. Without further ado, and if no one's asking anything, I will go roam around. And please grab me and stop me and say, hey, I want to look at something else. Let's check out Rubaluski. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? We did the Canadian and we did the NASCAD. Let's go to the energy sector and see what's going on there. That's how we usually play this whole thing out. So there it is right there. We're in a sell for a couple days here now. I don't like the way the data is being saved around here. Something's wrong with the way the brokerage is disseminating it. But you can see the pressure there. Let's give it a refresh. And it's trying to lift up a little bit. We're in a weekly buy, so you can't really take the sells too serious, even if the candles or the bar charts are changing. Doesn't matter. You just know that we had a red dot here on this one, and we had the lines down below it, and then they changed numbers inside of it. And either way, you know that just don't be long. That's all. And you're long from like here, so you're just now meeting where you were long from. That's why it's nice to buy it, and when you get a chance to make money out of it, you just take it off. The whole idea is to make money. That's the key to the whole game here. And then El Natural Gas. There's El Natural Gas. Let's give it a refresh. And you can see there, it's perking its little head up. I guess we can put the little green line in there. We'll see if it survives the day. Didn't do it yesterday. And we'll see how that plays itself out. El Natural Gas. I love it. I keep on hearing these crazy environmentalists say the oddest things that have no relationship to physics, and they keep on pretending like it's physics, like renewable energies. You can't buy a physics book that's used at a university that has something that says there are renewable energies. It's messing with the third law of Newton, Or what's the other one? Clean energy. There's clean energy. I don't know how you have a clean energy. but I guess a less pollutant one. But that doesn't make it clean. But it's funny. I hear these environmentalists say this stuff, and there's like no physics book that would even back any of this rubbish up, and they walk around saying this stuff. It's crazy stuff. Anyway, so yeah, that's what happens when I go into the energies. I think of that stuff. It's like, why do they say this stuff? There are no such things as renewable energies or clean energies. They don't exist. You could buy the best physics book in the world. It's not going to be in there whatsoever. You could buy the worst one, probably it's still not going to be in there. Unless it was written by a bunch of crazy environmentalists who don't understand physics and disregard Mr. Newton or Mr. Einstein or Mr. Maxwell or Mr. Feynman or yeah. Even the old and great computer Freeman Dyson, when he was a avid Democrat, he was a liberal, and when it came to putting politics to science, he would always give I don't have an answer for that. He would leave it like that. They wanted him to be like a spokesman for the environmental movement because he was very much avid, on the left. But when it came to the physics and the math side of it, he just refused. He just said, "No, I have no opinion about global warm or cold, none at all." Boy, what a tip off that is, huh? If you can't get a scientist to lie, what a bummer, huh? I guess you got a few of them that did it at East Anglia, and they've been all beat up and cleaned and removed academically, and then you have the one or two at Penn State University in the United States. They're the ones that created that hockey puck chart or something like that, and they've lost their jobs and so forth. Oh my God! All right, so that's it. That's the natural gas. Let's head over now to where do we go from here? We think so. No one's asking me a question. I got to remember my rhythm here. Let's say, so what's the next rhythm? Let's see. So we just did the energies. Let's look at the metals. Oh, we got an issue with gold this morning. It's driving me crazy. They've pulled out the low. And I even closed my computer and started over again. I closed everything out and tried to get it to come back. And I literally, I guess I have to delete gold and put it back in the whole, format system itself. It's really crazy. Let's head over to there. All right, so there's silver. Oh, and a friend sent something over last night. An old member, was saying something, and I put this up there. He was talking about the shorts squeezing the metals market. And I said was the longs trying to trap the shorts. I said the problem with that is that the central banks are the shorts, and they're not too easy to trap. So there is the silver this morning, and it did go into a buy there last night. Let's move that over just a little bit. And I thought we had a green line in there, and we only had one dot. But they've removed the low. The low was way down here yesterday. They've removed the size of the bar, and it's messing with my dot. But I'm going to leave the daily binary because it's up on the chat line, and it's cutting through. Now you can see here they're doing their best to try to put it back into a sell. We'll see how that plays out. Let's see. I'll move that over and put this one here. And did we do that yesterday? Yeah, it's right there. So there it is. So it went into the buy yesterday. I'm literally going to cover. I've had it with this stuff here where they do that to me. I hate that. And I'm going to just cover over that red dot. I don't care. I just hate the way they change data at night. It's like, what are they doing here? Yeah, see, that's it. I'm covering it over. I just hate that. So anyway, that's in the buy. Today, we can put a little red line there because I believe that's minus, isn't it? No, it's ZZZ, and plot 4 is Z.Z1, so it's still plus. So we're going to leave that out of here. We'll just remove that for the time being and save that. There we are. But yeah, I thought it was really funny. He sent over this Bloomberg article last night, one of the old members, and it said, from one of the exchanges or a couple of the exchanges, and said, maybe they're going to trap the shorts in the metals market. And I sent them this chart over saying this is where the Reddit/Robinhood vigilantes tried to trap the silver market, and it didn't seem to work. And that's because the shorts are not the funds or the investors. The shorts are the central banks. So good luck with that one. Trying to trap the central banks to have to cover. They'll just short more, and they've got more money than the whole planet. So, all right, and so now here's my gold conundrum. They've done the same thing. I'm gonna put a green dot in there. I just don't, I'm just gonna color it over. I hate that, and it's up on the fact check spreadsheet as a buy too. Just is what it is, traders, and I'm not gonna wrestle with it and accept it. You can't fudge the math. The math will prevail, and so they pulled the low. The low is 60. They're showing a low of yesterday of 17,099. That's what they're showing as a low, and I've got a low of 16 something like. I don't know, it's ridiculous. It's like 1678 or something like that. I mean, they've pulled the low out, which is absurd. Remember, it closed the day before that at 1673. So it lifted up about 6-7 points and then really started to take off. So those clowns are driving me crazy. They drive me totally bonkers when they pull this stuff. There it is. So that's where we are there. Now, today, I'm willing to accept this as a sell. That's no problem because this line is down. We got a red dot. And as long as that's happening, this will be in a sell again. But that was in a buy. And I'm not going to shy away from it. And it's going to stay on the fact check spreadsheet. It was a buy. And, and if it fails, it fails. But again, why do I not care as much? Because we're in weekly sells. And so anybody who's following our mathematics knows you don't buy it anyway. All you do is cover some of your short or all your short or whatever short. I mean, if you're short from here, see, they did that same thing to me there too. They tortured me with some type of an adjustment of color or something. They changed my dot on me. And then they put a green in there, but I moved it down and made a red like that. Because that's where we went into the sell. And that was down, that was minus. They changed the numbers on us. And they tried to turn it into a buy, and that's where we went into the sell. So either way, even if it was this day it was a sell, it's still winner, winner, chicken dinner. But they do that every 5 or 6 days. We get these wacko, and somewhere along the line they may change that again, and I'm not even sure why they do that. But it's sure not me, trust me. So now I'm just painting these things over when I see it. And it's on the fact check spreadsheet, just to confirm with you. So somebody who's not paying attention looks at the chart and says, oh, I see, yeah, I see the green dot or a red dot. All right. And that's what's going on there. That drove me really bonkers. I hated that. I hate when they remove a low or a high that is just so wrong. All right, now let's take a look at copper. Now copper's gone to sleep, it seems like. Notice that? Now yesterday they couldn't get in there with that. Let's refresh that. But they're definitely in the buy today, so that's fine. And I don't think we even had a green line on on this, sitting right here last night. See how it opens and goes up? That's okay. As long as it's above, we're in a buy. And you can see on the fact check spread, it still shows an 8 for sell right there. See? That's why we try to keep the two coordinated together. To make them all factual. All right. Where do we go from here? Oh, I did see the platinum gold spread down to, what did I see? Down to 540 or something like that, 535. So I think it was like 535, 540. So they popped it to about 570, and now they're moving back down again. Okay. I'll chew on some popcorn. I'm so entertained. I don't know if I'm entertaining, but I am entertained myself. And so that's the copper. Now, where do we go from here? Usually we go into the currencies again with no one asking questions. We'll take a look at some of the others like ruble. And that was, I thought I put a red line in there. What's it say on the spreadsheet? Ruble, ruble, ruble. Where are you, ruble? Dollar, ruble. There it is. Yeah, -1. So went into the sell there yesterday. I didn't get a chance to put a line in there. No, not up there. I shouldn't do that. Remove that. There we are. Should be right there. Put the green one there, and put the sell there. There we go. So there's the ruble's joined in with the sell again. It's on the sell now for a couple of weeks, and it's still keeping low. You know, keeping low. It's not really popping up any. Let's see. We usually do this. We go to, like, look at the yen. You can see the yen strong still. And then where do we go from here? I think we go to, we kind of slip back to the stock indices. I think that's what it is. So we go over, we go like this. We go to the Bitcoin. That's what it is. We go to Bitcoin in our rhythm. There's the March contract, and you can see it went into a buy there. You can see it on the fact check spreadsheet. It's been in a buy for 2 days since here. That's another one. This was through, the line was higher. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just not going to fight with that. I'm just putting it in there like it was. It's 2 full days. We're on a 3rd day now in a buy. And so that's why it says on the fact check spreadsheet on line, where's that, line 28, 2 days in a buy. And also, it slipped into a weekly sell, so you can't be short again. You know, so it's in a weekly sell right here. You can see, and at the same time, there it is right there. Oh no, wait a minute. Oh, I see. This it's in a sell now, but it hasn't confirmed yet. That's what it is. I see. Okay. Yeah, it's still dangerous. You don't really want to be trading. You don't want to be on the long side. You just don't want to be on the short side either. You know, you just kind of want to stand to the side because they may knock this back down again, unless they can get this this weekly to turn back up. And that's how we go to the stock indices. So there's the stock indices. You know, the that's being sold down again. Let's give it a refresh. This is the NASDAQ 100, or known on Dukascopy as the Tech 100, right there. Tech 100. There it is. That's the Tech 100. The good old Tech 100. You can see they're trying to push it down on the J4X. And then there's the S&P. Now the S&P, oh, there it goes. You know, it's got that weekly trend down with the NQs anyway. Let's go back to the NQs since now it showed that. So there's the NQs. You can see we're in a weekly sell for a couple of weeks here now. And then let's take a look at the S&Ps, which they also have on there. That's right above it too. That has pushed itself right from Monday right into a daily sell. Not daily, I'm sorry, weekly sell. It's been into the weekly sell area. And so it's really hard to try to, it's still in a daily sell too from here. And we can remove that like so, and then do that like so. And that is where we are with these stock indices, the pressure on them at the moment. Then, where do we go from here? Oh, I know. We go to the YM, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which has been in a daily buy for the last couple of days, and still in a weekly buy from last week. So, you know, it's been winning, and we talked about this yesterday. The dichotomy, you know, the difference between all these indices going in different directions. It's a stock pickers indice market, which is something relatively rare because usually all the indices like to march in their own direction. But in this case here, wow, Dow Jones Industrial Average, which does have 6 NASDAQ stocks in it now, holding really strong. The Tech 100 in a weekly sell for a few weeks. The S&P 500 in a weekly buy and a daily sell for 8 days, just like the Tech 100 in a daily sell for 8 days. A lot of cross currents, traders. I mean, there must be cross hedging. I really gave credit in my head. I kept on thinking about it, and then finally we finally realized that maybe the reason why we saw such activity in the Russell 2000 is that's those Reddit Robinhood people, really, because all those stocks that they're trying to pop up and trap the shorts in are in this index, and that's why the index has gone from like 18 to like 23. I mean, that's almost like a 25% move. I mean, nothing has moved in 2 months 25%. I mean, 8%, 3%, 4%, but not 25%. So it's obviously that index in particular is really part of the Reddit, what's it called? Reddit Robinhood groups, those social media traders. And you can see here, it seems to have calmed down to some extent. It's going sideways now and down. Money's probably slowly trying to figure a way to short this. I mean, these are overpriced. Look, right now, I'm getting emails from old members because I was the kid, and I'm 65, and I was the kid on the floor back then, and they're in their 90s and 80s, and they're saying to me, none of this makes any sense to them anymore. They're a bunch of old white guys with a lot of money. That's about it. Just confused by the reality. What do they do? Clipping their coupons, collecting, and they're confused by all this crazy stuff, and they text me and email me, and say, what's going on? What is this all about? And they send articles over, like from Bloomberg, which make no sense at all anymore. And so, we're in a really strange time where not only do we see odd pricing going on in different areas, different sectors, we're seeing odd pricing between the indexes. The indexes have gotten weird. I mean, you got the Dow Jones Industrial Average looking like, like Superman, and you've got the NASDAQ right now looking like, olive oil. I mean, it's, like the cartoons. I mean, really, we're in a point now where, and then they're doing all this investing. There's the trillions going on by the central banks, and the trillions going on by the U.S. government. I mean, we're all going to get, well, I'm not, but I mean, someone's going to get $1,400 checks, My God, $1,400 checks. I think Biden is giving them to illegal aliens even. I mean, everybody's getting them. It's party time. And something like, I heard, Republicans are saying 9% of the 1.7 or 1.9 trillion, 9% of the 1.9 trillion goes to COVID, and the rest goes to all kinds of pet projects. And the Democrats were defending that this morning and said, oh, no, that's not true. It's 15%. So 85, even the Democrats admit 85% of what's going out has nothing to do with stimulation for the virus whatsoever. They're paying pensions off and unions that need money. They're giving union money to the unions, and they're giving what are they giving? They're giving school teachers billions for nothing. I mean, literally nothing. They won't even open the schools up, and they're giving them billions. It's all kinds of. That's what happens when you steal an election. Oh, and at the same time, Democrats are trying to keep the fences up around the Capitol building, and they have the military there. That's what happens when you steal an election. You have fear and guilt going on simultaneously. It's all weird. The whole thing's weird. Everything's weird. And we use our quantitative trading. It's one of the only clear, clean ways to make a trade. After that, it's like it's gambling city. All right. So that's the stock indices. Let's just take a look at now, yesterday I saw it. The 10-year went into a daily buy. See it right there. Now they've got a red dot. What in blazes is going on here? And so it was a green dot yesterday. And now you can see they're flirting again with the sell. But we're in a weekly sell, so there's no way you would take the long anyway. The worst case scenario is you're just not in a position. And that's the way we trade around here. And that's like, the idea is, now see there, that did that too. And it was in a green dot yesterday. They've pulled out the highs and the lows. They've done something. They've shrunk it down. So I'm just going to fix that dot like that. Yep. And then let's just make it very thick. That's all. Screw them. There we are. So, and now, of course, it's breaking down, which is fine. It's allowed to do that. And we're going to throw a little red line up here as the warning to it. It's trying to go into a sell. Now, remember, traders, when this is going down, interest rates are going up at the same time. So interest rates are higher here, and they're even higher here, more higher than they were there, and they're really more higher here than they were there. So, it works in inverse relationship. So we're seeing this little bounce means interest rates were trying to come down a little bit. But now that they're trying to push it back into the minus side, that's obviously got something to go on there. And so that is our little magical tour of the indices and the energies and the metals, and that's where we stand with it all. Now let's see where we're at here. That's that. So let's do this. Let's close that, and then let's open up this currency one. I want to save those currencies. Open Sea Sesame. So right there, we'll take a look at that. And there again, the euro. It's that. Let's refresh that. I want to save that. And there we go. It's trying to bounce. It's kind of interesting. It's trying to bounce. I mean, we are seeing some strength in some of this stuff. But the dollar is truly, until there's a more until there is a more economic / military superpower, there's going to be nobody but the U.S. as the lead currency. And for a long time, as the old guys used to tell me, the old members, they were paranoid that they didn't want to lose credibility. That was what they were really nervous about for forever, is to lose credibility, too much borrowing. But that was in a world where a lot of these nations were not in debt. And now we're in a world where actually the United States is, percentage-wise, is not that bad off compared to a lot of these other countries, which is really weird. So, again, it makes it even more of a case of saying that the dollar is going to be around a long time, because it's financing the world. It really is. It's very weird, but it is. It's a matter of fact, I think the OECD, the organization of what is it they call it, the something country, something or another, developing countries, came out this morning and said that the world GDP is going to increase because of the stimulus package in the United States. So, I mean, there might be some type of stimulus that goes on through China, but trust me, it's not as stimulating as, because you keep on hearing about all these loans they make. China makes loans to these countries, and they can't afford the loans. And so then what happens is the Chinese come in and they take the property. And so they're kind of aggressive on a capitalism way, And so they're like bankrupting countries. Whereas the United States, they lend you money and then they lend it to you again, and they lend it to you again, and then they lend it to you again, just the way the European Union does. They lend it to, how many times did they lend Greece money to be able to pay its debt? Over and over again, they do that stuff. But the Chinese don't do that. They take the property instead and take control of it, and then you lose the assets, which is kind of a bummer, Imagine you built something and with Chinese money, and it doesn't make money, and it goes out of business, and the Chinese take it over, and now you've lost the money and you've lost the property. That's a drag. The United States or European Union will actually go lend you money again, over and over and over again. They just keep on lending you the money. It's kind of funny the way that goes on. they're not very. It's awful hard to believe that their currency could become any. I just have a hard time believing that people will run to a crypto first before they'll dare to buy the Chinese yuan. And even then, remember years ago, I told you I don't think we'd ever see it. Remember when China came out and said that they were going to create a international currency that was backed by gold and oil. Remember that years ago? Notice, because of the media loves China, they just kind of forget when they don't do something. But notice it doesn't exist. And they talked about that. Remember that? They put out press releases. The yuan went running up. Everybody was excited. And, and the end result is that it never happened. I told you it couldn't happen. There's no way in the world they could do anything like that. And, but everybody acted like they were going to do it. It was right down the road. It's just a matter of time. But no, they can't afford to do that. China is not as wealthy as everybody thinks it is. It just isn't. And it's not organized enough. And unfortunately, that's one of the things that's odd about it all. So that was yesterday. Yesterday, wait a minute. That's the 8th. Aren't we on the 10th today? There's the 9th. Okay, okay, that's right. That's the 9th. That's yesterday. So we went into the buy here. Look at that even. This is the coffee. Save that. And so that's the story about me having the epiphany of if there is no dollar, there is no world currency. There won't be any world reserve currencies. No one can take that position because they don't have the ability to yet. It would be nice. I mean, look, we were hoping that the European unit, the currency itself, combined, would be a competitive product, and it has been to some extent for the dollar, but it doesn't have the ability to be the world reserve currency. It just doesn't have that power. And if the European unit can't do it, then obviously the Chinese are no ways near going to ever be able to do it. So that's where we are with that. All right. Let's see. I just want to save this one, and then we're done with that. There it is. So I guess that was my montage of trying to explain if the dollar isn't the world reserve currency right now, there is nobody else that can be. They just don't have the ability. It's not that they don't want to be. I mean, the Chinese would love to be the world reserve currency. They talk about it all the time. But if they can't put together that currency that they talked about that was backed by gold and oil, then obviously they're not ever going to be, not ever, but they're not at this point in time even remotely close to being a world reserve currency. So there's no worry about the dollar at the moment as a world reserve currency. China now has the world's largest navy by like 3 ships or something like that. So what will they do with it? Well, I don't. They're messing with the China Sea, so they're always messing with Vietnam, and they're always messing with some of the far off islands of Japan and the Philippines, and they mess with them and they drive them crazy. But overall, nothing. Did you see where the German fleet went through the China Sea about a week ago? And in other words, without talking to the Chinese, and just went through the China Sea because it's international waters. So I don't think it means much. I think they have like 3 or 4 more ships than the U.S. And that might be, who knows what they are, junkets. Is that probably including all the little junkets hanging around in the Hong Kong harbor? So I mean, what's it make them one of the better fishing fleets in the world? It's a borrow $2 for gas. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, there's speculation that gas is going to be $4 by the end of this year in the United States. Joe Biden's going to double the price of gasoline. They hate fossil fuels. They love pretend energies. Pretend, yes, things that don't follow the laws of physics. They love those type of energies. And so how many pretend energies do you think there are? Let's see. There's renewable energy. There's clean energy. There are 2 pretend ones. I'm sure they've got another one or 2 floating around somewhere. But that is what it is, huh? Crazy stuff. Crazy. So my whole inclination of today has been, if the dollar is not the reserve currency, there won't be one. No one's going to take over. No, so in other words, when they say, this is going to take over for the world, for the dollar as the world reserve currency, or this is going to take over for it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. And so don't worry about that. Don't cry for me, Argentina. How's that? Do 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 do. La 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 la. All right, traders. What else we got here today? I guess we're at the end of the road, huh? I think that's where we're at. So we will catch you all tomorrow. And what can we? Okay, you know what we should do? How do we label this? Because it really was a day of dollar, the world reserve currency. I mean, that's really what it was all about today. And we looked at things we disliked, but I mean, overall, like the way the gold low has been removed by $30, things like that. But what it really comes down to is, let's see, what we should use as a title. Anybody care to throw out a title? If not, I will, and I'll sing my way out of here. Nothing so far, huh? Okay. All right. Happy trails to you until we meet again. That'll be Thursday. Happy trails to you, to all my trading friends. Ta-ta for now, traders. See you all, cyber friends. Cyber buckaroos.